Leave it.
All I know is this violates every canon of respectable broadcasting.
How are you?
Hey, who wants to help me get this recorder out of here? I need some muscle over here.
You are listening to Blame Your Brother.
Hello. Welcome, everybody, back to Blame Your Brother, episode 229. We are back once again to entertain you for the next hour, and we are happy and excited to do so. Streaming the show right now on YouTube, and you can go to blameyourbrother.tv every Thursday night to check that out. Subscribe, hit that like button, do all that fun stuff the kids do. Yes, Blame Your Brother. There are two of us that come to you every week. I'm one half of that duo. I am David, a.k.a. D-Brew, voice of people, Mr. 40%, Glenn Jackson, the spiritual midget. You can't see me. And this guy over here to the left of me, it's the one and only, it's John.
Hey everybody, John here, a.k.a. Tico, a.k.a. Mr. Groupon, Mr. PTI, the Madman.
They got John Tortorella, a madman.
They do have a madman.
Okay, he's a madman.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, dig it. So yeah, tonight, if you're tuning in right now, we're going to be doing our Mount Rushmore of most hated wrestlers in honor of WrestleMania, which was this past weekend, which we'll probably talk about for a little bit. And it should be a fun list. I don't know what John's got on the table. He doesn't know what I have on the table, so it's going to be fun. Which wrestlers do we hate for whatever reason? We'll get into that about midway through the show, but we start the same way every week. We're going to talk about our lives for a little bit because that's what you guys love. So this week, I know, John, we both did something pretty awesome. So, John, what did you do this week?
Tuesday,
Yeah.
which I believe is the same day you did yours, I got my first round of vaccinations.
All right, so let's discuss. What did you got, Pfizer? Or?
I got Pfizer. There's a choice between, there is actually a place just down the street from my house that was doing the Johnson & Johnson.
Yeah. Ooh.
And even before the news came out recently, like for weeks, I was just like, I don't want that one.
Nah.
And so I was just, so I preferred to, I took the extra time and drove all the way downtown to get the Pfizer one.
Here's what I'll say about the Johnson & Johnson. I mean, it is 6 people that got the blood clots out of like hundreds of thousands. So, I mean, I understand, and it's good they're kind of going, wait a minute, let's back off this. But someone tweeted at me and said, oh, did you get the Johnson & Johnson? Some anti-vax. So I'm like, dude, just chill out, bro. Chill out with this stuff. But anyway, okay, so you got the first. Now, were you in a line of cars, or did you walk into a building?
I walked in. It was at the Music City Center.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
It was very organized. Didn't take long at all.
Okay, that's good.
So parking was free for people who were getting their vaccinations. So.
Nice. All right.
There you go.
So everybody's wondering what were the side effects, if any?
For about 36 hours, the spot where had the shot was a little sore.
Hell yeah.
But honestly, it's only if I did anything. If I kept my arm still, I didn't really even notice it.
Yeah.
I was lately. Since I've had the vaccine, I've been craving raw meat, and no, just kidding.
There's some kind of microchip on my phone saying, "Do you want to pair with the vaccine?"
I don't want to be. I don't want to be in the sunlight so much.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Yeah. So when I got the first one, that was the only side effect. It did feel like someone slugged me in the arm pretty good, but I mean, that's sometimes
it was nothing compared to getting a tetanus shot.
Oh, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
Well, yes, I went Tuesday and I got my second shot. And so I lined up, and the first one, I went to one where you're lined up in cars. It was at Columbia State. Drove there, and the wait was a little bit longer because there was a lot more people here for the second shot. So I decided, if you've watched on YouTube or on our Instagram page, I decided to document the process. And
as much as you could.
As much as I could. And I knew, some people had told me that it got they don't really allow you to tape in there. And I'm like, that's weird. I don't understand really what that's all about. But so I'm running the tape and nothing's fine. Then this big goon comes up and he's like, are you filming? I'm like, yeah. He's like, turn it off. I'm like, all right. Because people are like, why didn't you push back? I'm like, bro, I'm literally in line to get the shot. I'm scared they're going to kick me out and I'll have to go
start
all
over,
the way back
yeah.
over. I've waited for almost an hour to get the shot. Yeah, there was part of me that wanted to go, screw you, I can do whatever I want, but
I was watching that, and I have a theory.
Okay.
Because it seemed like that the woman came up to car first.
Yes.
Right? And I think she was too scared to say something to you. And she kind of like, hey, can you say something? And he just like, I think that was not the first time.
I don't know, because she didn't interact with him, though. And several women walked by. I edited some of that. I mean, I was there for like 5 minutes. I don't know. My thing would be, I've watched other YouTube videos, because then I started going, well, am I gonna get in trouble? Like, I mean, I was honestly like, should I post this? Like, because I don't want to like get in trouble for posting something for this podcast. Not these days. And I started going online, and like all these people are like filming them getting the shot. And I'm like, wait a minute. Now, no. So I'm like, no, I'm posting this, dude. I mean, this is stupid. But who cares? I mean, it's one goon. Anyway, got the shot, and I was fearful of the effects from the second shot, because I'd read online, like the second, man, you're going to get sick. I've read like stuff online. You're going to be sick for 24 hours. You're going to have chills and blah-da-da. And I was waiting, it's like that thing where you're around a bunch of people that got sick, and you're like, oh man, I'm about to get sick, and you're like fearful. And I kept waiting and waiting. I went, nothing ever happened. Yeah. Like I said, sore arm, not as bad as the first one though. It wasn't, the first one was very sore. Second one, not so much. I mean,
my arm's fine now. I don't feel anything at all. So.
And I was a little bit tired at night. And like I said, I had a very busy day that day. So I don't know if it was just mental or if I was just tired, but I mean, I woke up and was feeling great the entire day. So yeah, I know it takes about 2 weeks for the full vaccination to kick in, but man, it was quite it was a relief, like a weight off my shoulders that I got it done. They released something today that you may have to get a booster shot in a year, and that's fine. I mean, I get a flu shot every year. I don't have a problem going to get the shot if that helps. So I'm worried. I've been hearing a lot of chatter online that people now don't want to go get the shots. People that, not the anti-vaxxers, we know they're not going to get the shots. People that were like, yo, I'm going to go get it now, are like, maybe I just don't get it and everyone else can get it. And I just don't know about that.
I think I kind of know where they're coming from, because I'm hearing things that the shots that we got are only going to last X amount of months.
Right, yeah.
And, it's kind of disheartening that you're going through all this trouble to get 2 shots, and it's only going to protect you for 6 months.
Yeah.
And so I can see where they're coming from. To me, the problem isn't so much them as the people who are, not getting the shot, but still living their lives like they've already had it.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
And that's the numbers actually have skyrocketed because of people like that.
Right.
And it's just like,
dude, go out. I don't go out, but I see other people going out, and I'm like, is it over? I mean, I'm starting to think, like, is it over? Did I get the shot for no reason? Because people are out now. Like, even the mayor of Nashville was like, well, restaurants are, you can have so many people in there now. And I'm just like, oh, I mean, the hope is obviously that enough people get vaccinated where it's not a big deal. I mean, because, math wise, it works out. If a small percentage is fatal for people, if more people are vaccinated, then that would kind of go down the numbers you would hope. But I don't know. I don't know what to say to those people that are totally against it. I've come to determine over the last few months, maybe over the last year, that I'm not going to change anyone's opinion on anything.
I mean, if you can't convince flat earthers that the earth is round, then these anti-vaxxers, you're not going to.
But it bums me out that people are so set in their ways now that they're not even open to thinking about it. Like, and you really can't think about science though. Like, science is what science is. Like, this isn't hey, which is better, McDonald's or Burger King? It's like, all right, we can have a conversation about that. That's a discussion that can be had. Yeah. The art of getting vaccinated and disease scientist is a science. It is a fact. Have you ever met someone at a bar and probably some people have, but for the most part, it'd be, hey, 2 + 2 is 4. And they're like, nah, it isn't. And you're like, all right, man, but it is. And they're like, no, it's not. Like, the argument really just ends right there. Like, you can argue about abstract things, like religion's another good one. You can, if you meet someone and you got a good rapport with them, you can discuss religion. Okay. And the point is, discussing is not to try to change someone's mind. See, that's a good discussion. A discussion is, this is my viewpoint on it. That's your viewpoint.
This is why I think this.
And we might both walk away going, he's got some points there. Let me re-examine how I believe this thing. But this country in itself is really bad about just going, man, this is the way it's always been. It's the way it's going to be. I mean, there's more school shootings now. There's more black individuals getting killed by police. So we are kind of getting back into normal in the bad ways. And we talked about last week, gun control. It's just either people are this way or that way. And really, everything's kind of in the middle. You know, like I've said before, I don't have the answers for gun control. I don't know what the answers are. I mean, yes, we live in a country where it is in the Constitution, the right to bear arms. It doesn't really say much more than that. It doesn't say the right to bear arms with a permit, the right to bear arms without a permit. And that was written at a time of war when soldiers would kick your door in and you didn't have anything to defend yourself. We're in different times. You know, it's just like thinking the way you thought at 10 years old at 44, or even thinking of when you were 21 to 44. I mean, do you know how radically different we are from those people today? Like, I know I am like completely different, not even politically, just the way I see the world. If I still thought that way, and some of these people never change from then, that's the problem, because maybe they're not self-aware, they don't have time to reflect on things, but I don't know, it's just unfortunate, and I just hope if you're able to get it, and you know you're on the fence about it, just go get it. I'm telling you right now, I got it. He got the first one. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, our reaction's going to happen, of course. I mean, that could happen with anything. You could take medicine, it reacts badly to you. You know, no one's saying, well, I'm not going to take antidepressant medication because it makes me well, yes, so you go to another one. It's all, you know, it's just so bizarre. Now, we got on the screen here, if you're watching the live stream, Ivanka Trump went and got her shot today or yesterday. And people are upset about that. A lot of the Trumpers are upset about this, going, wait a minute. Even though they don't realize Trump got the vaccination months ago, dude. Like, I know he doesn't publicize that, but like this guy, it's just bizarre to me. Like, I would hope now, you know, Ivanka Trump is she's a very controversial figure because on one hand, she seems on some things to be kind of progressive about LGBTQ rights, about, you know, a lot of social issues, but then people come back to, well, she stood beside Trump, and I've always said, well, that's her father. I mean, come on, you know, what are you going to do? If you love your father, you're going to justify the way, I mean, it's the same way if we love our grandparents, and they're saying things that are a little bit dicey or racy or racist, you're just like, well, you know, that's, you know, which I think is, I mean, I'm not justifying, but it is a fair argument. I mean, if your grandfather grew up before the civil rights era and he's still calling colored people, I mean, it's like, dude, you probably shouldn't say it, but he's not going to listen to me to change his opinion on it. I'm his grandson. I mean, you know, so good for Ivanka Trump. I hope maybe more people on the right would start getting vaccinations and pushing that out. I
don't get why people are upset with, I mean, I get it, but I don't get it. I get it because I understand there are idiots out there.
Yes.
But I mean, to me, if someone does something that in no way, shape, or form are going to harm you or anyone else, then let it be.
Yeah, that is
her taking that vaccination. There's no negative side effect here. There's nothing bad that can happen.
No, not to them. Unless we mutate into zombies or werewolves or vampires. Then yes,
it came from bats, man.
That would well, that's true. That might be it. Then I would say, well, if people start doing that, then don't.
By the way, what's your blood? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I'm not telling you. But so just to say, we both got our shots. Well on our way. John's gonna get the second one in 3 weeks. Okay, so
May 4th.
So there you go.
Star Wars Day.
So, and hopefully that will maybe open up a few guests coming on this show. And, you know, I know people probably that I know would maybe want to come on the show or be part of the show, but that's always been like a concern. Like, and fair enough. I mean, I understand it. You know, we made the decision to record in person because we're both responsible people that wore masks and limited our contact with people. But no one knows that when they meet you. Like, I'm not going to go, hello, sir. Can I ask you a few questions before we engage in a conversation?
What percentage of time do you wear a mask in public?
Yes, 0. Okay, well, I'm out of here. No, but so.
Don't stand so close to me.
Yeah, for sure. So that's our vaccination tale. Hopefully you guys go get your vaccination. Share it with us on social media if you have, and let us know what the side effects were. All right, I want to hit some stories real quick. We love pop culture. We love movies, and I've made aware that there are some controversial movie castings that dropped this week. So let's go with the first one. Now, if you're not aware who Sean Payton is the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. And a couple years ago, he got in a little bit of trouble because he was, he was part of Bountygate. If you don't know what Bountygate is, according to people, they were told to go out and injure players and they would get bonuses for doing so. That's not in the spirit of sports. That is not what you're out there to do. As a football player, you don't want to hurt people intentionally. If you get them a good hit and it hurts them, I mean, that's part of the game. But for you to intentionally go out and hit people, that's
with that in mind.
Yes, to hurt them, to twist their legs. So anyway, he got in trouble for that. Well, they're going to make a movie about his time during that and after what he did. I mean, it'll make for a pretty interesting movie. But what is very interesting, and if you're watching, you see, if you're listening, you're about to sit down or don't be drinking anything. If you haven't heard the news, Sean Payton is, I would say he's just, he's a 50-year-old man. I mean, nothing crazy about him. You could pass him in a store, kind of like a dad that wears polos at your kid's soccer game, you know. Well, if you know what a man looks like, you would be very surprised to know that Kevin James, the King of Queens, will be playing Sean Payton in the film version. Now, this led me to some questions. Number one, would you be offended if they cast, let's just say, Jack Black as you, John? Let's say...
personality-wise, it might be dead on.
I don't think that's a fair question. I don't know of any, who's the largest actor I can think of. I mean, there's not really a lot of them out there, are there? I mean, how many larger actors can you even think of that are in regular roles in movies? Not a lot.
No, not really.
That's kind of wild if you think about it. I mean, I'm sure there's character actors, but I'm saying a mainstay. Now, some of the women, plus-size people, Melissa McCarthy, who's the British lady? Rebel?
Yeah, Rebel Wilson.
Rebel Wilson, I believe that's her name. There's a few more of that niche in Hollywood, but the overweight, heavy male, you pretty much got Kevin James, Jack Black, I guess Jonah Hill. Okay, so fat Jonah Hill. They make a movie about the podcast, and they cast me as like Michael Cera or something. They cast you as Jonah Hill, calling back Superbad. Would you be offended by that, or would you be like, "That's cool"?
I'd want to be like, okay, well, what are you guys thinking? And I mean, if he's acting wise, if he's got the chops and that's the best person for it, then whatever.
Right.
But I need some kind of you have to break off a little something for me. Just tell me what's up.
Plus, Kevin James is known as a comedic actor. I mean, Sean Payton is not a funny guy. If you don't watch the NFL, he's not cracking wise on the side. He's a very serious coach. I mean, on his delivery.
I mean, maybe he's trying to take a page out of his buddy Adam Sandler's book and, with Uncut Gems and Punch Drunk Love.
Okay. I mean,
I don't know if he could do it or not because pretty much, we haven't seen him do it yet.
Let's see. Has he been in a serious movie? Because you're right. I don't think he has. Yeah. Oh man, someone fact check us on that. But you're right. I don't think he's been.
I think the closest thing to a serious role he has was in Hitch.
Okay.
And there was a lot of physical comedy.
That's comedy, yeah. You're right. It's funny that Adam Sandler is in two of the better movies. Have you watched Uncut Gems?
I have not seen that one.
Oh,
yet.
it is phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's wild to think this is opera guy. Because if you didn't know that world, let's say you were younger and you had no idea who Adam Sandler was. You didn't know about SNL. You didn't know about this comedy CDs he made. You didn't know about his crappy movies
Happy
he made.
Gilmore.
Well, those are good ones. I'm saying.
But still.
Yes. And you watch him on Uncut Gems, you'd be, who is this dude? You would think he was like an actor,
Yeah.
And even Punch Drunk Love, great movie. If you have not seen Punch Drunk Love by, oh man, I can't think of the director's name, but that's a good movie. But anyways, that's one of the funny moments. Now, I don't know if this one's going to be funny or if people are going to say, I get it.
I mean, I believe that Kevin James is a huge football fan.
I get it.
So I think he'll take it seriously.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to think if I was Sean Payton, how would I feel about that? I'd be like, really? Really? I mean, there's many actors.
The subject matter, does he have much of a... I mean, it's probably not going to be super enlightening for him.
No, probably not.
So
I don't know. Now, the other one is Pete Davidson, comedian, another SNL guy. I mean, Kevin James isn't, but by default, he's associated with a lot of those guys. Pete Davidson, who most of people, I don't know how most people know Pete Davidson. Probably,
That's a no.
or Ariana Grande, dated Ariana Grande, dated Kate Beckinsale, which is mind blowing. I mean, I'm sorry, but that doesn't make sense to me. Kate Beckinsale is one of the most attractive women on the face of the planet. Pete Davidson is not one of the most attractive dudes. Anyways, he is going to be playing one of my favorite bands, Joey Ramone of the Ramones, in a biopic written by Joey Ramone's brother. Now, is that one, I mean, is that a little bit more easy to stomach? Can you see that one a little bit more, or is that still a little bit like stunt casting?
I think I can see that one a little bit more. Looks wise, I mean, if you put a wig on him and stuff, it's not far off.
Yeah, that's true.
And if you haven't seen King of Staten Island, he basically playing himself.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's not like out to get every joke, and so it is a mostly serious movie. So I think he could pull it off.
I genuinely enjoyed King of Staten Island. I enjoyed his other movie. I think it's called some Adolescence.
I haven't seen
Big
that
Time
one.
Adolescence. I mean, if you just wrote down everything about Pete Davidson on paper, I'd be like, oh God, this guy. But I genuinely love the guy.
I enjoy watching him, especially when he's around people that you can tell he's friendly with.
Yeah. I think he has like this charisma though, like that. It's really weird. Like if you just saw a picture of him, you'd be like,
I mean, I'm not a fan of Machine Gun Kelly at all, but
not at all.
I mean, when they're together and they're just talking and hanging out, and you see that, you're almost like, I think I could hang out with Machine Gun Kelly.
I can no.
I agree with you, but with the exception of that, I mean,
maybe Machine Gun Kelly was dating Kate Beckinsale. Now that you said that, he dated Megan Fox too, and I think Machine Gun Kelly looks like a punk. I don't see the appeal, but these women love him.
I mean, and then when he's with John Mulaney, they're hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
so. Yeah. This biopic, I definitely will 100% see.
Oh,
I mean, I'm all about the Ramones. I don't know if any proper biopics.
We covered them in one of our bands.
Right, yes. I mean, we love them. And there's never been a movie. They've been in movies, but they've never been the center of a movie that I'm aware of. They were in Rock and Roll High School, so don't check me on that. But that was a movie written for them. That was not about them, So I definitely want to see that movie for sure. I'm excited to see that one, so that's going to be fun to watch. And hopefully Pete Davidson will do good. Now, we were talking before this, the shirt I'm wearing, John Cena and Pete Davidson are going to be in Suicide Squad 2. Now, we both watched the trailer for this movie. If you have not seen it, go watch. Pause this right now and go watch it and come back. What did you think of this trailer of Suicide Squad 2?
I'm amped to see it.
Oh,
and I mean, 3-4 months ago, I mean, I knew James Gunn was attached to it, but I still had qualms about it.
Because of the first movie.
Because of the first one.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
It was very, very bad, which leads me into, is Will Smith pro or con now in your movie? Because what's the last good movie Will Smith has made? I mean, really think about that, man. You're talking Suicide Squad.
Oof.
He was in
After Earth was horrible.
After Earth. He was in that superhero movie, which was all
Hancock.
right. It was all right, but it wasn't great.
That's a really old movie now.
So what is he
in movie time standards?
What has he been in, dude? I mean, that's it. This isn't the same guy that was in Independence Day, man. This ain't that same actor. That guy for a while was golden. Like if he was in a movie, Independence Day, Bad Boys, even Bad Boys 2.
Yeah.
He also had the other one, the Last Man on Earth movie where he was, I forget what.
I Am Legend.
Yeah, I Am Legend. He was an iRobot, which I think is an all right movie. But after that, so he was in Suicide Squad. Bad movie. I watched the trailer. I'm all in on this.
Oh, yeah.
You see now, why did Guardians of the Galaxy work, which is akin to the characters of Suicide Squad. I mean, nutty characters. You're like, all right, so here's I'm going to pitch Guardians of the Galaxy. So there's a raccoon, a talking tree, there's a green alien chick, and there's a human and some other people. And you'd be like, nah, dude, I don't want any part of that. That Guardians of the Galaxy, everyone's mainly agreed, one of the better Marvel movies.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, without a doubt,
It was, I dare say, it's probably the perfect blend of comedy and action.
Yes.
That I've seen in just about anything.
I mean, I'm trying to think, is it my favorite Marvel movie? It's definitely in the top 3 without a doubt. And because it did offer something a little bit different at the time. I mean, up until that point, they were all like deadly serious, which is fine. You know, there were jokes thrown in, but they were serious movies. I went back and watched Winter Soldier the other night, and I forgot how great that movie is. I mean,
it's a great movie. It's almost not just a comic book. It's also kind of like a spy thriller movie.
Yes, it's so good.
So good.
So that would be in my top as well, but I don't know, Guardians for a while was like the movie, you know. But yes, James Gunn, you can see, was the creative force behind Guardians, and I think Suicide Squad 2 is going to be a banger of a movie. It looks off the chain. It looks it's got elements of Guardians, got elements of The Boys, the Amazon Prime series. It just looks wacky. It's got all these crazy characters. So I don't know when that's coming out, but I am all in on Guardians. So another Pete Davidson, man. It's like, hey, man, keep doing your thing, kid.
Yeah.
You're doing great.
And also, when it comes to trailers and James Gunn, when he puts out new trailers, he tries to put new footage in each trailer.
Yeah.
And that's all hail to him, man. He's just a great director. I mean, as far as marketing, it's brilliant. And so, I mean, he's just,
Yeah, he's great.
He's amazing.
So, I think
one more thing about James Gunn. I would credit James Gunn to humorous comic book movies as Christopher Nolan is to dark.
Yeah, for sure. I would say that.
Yeah,
yes, masterful. Great. Yes, I do say John Cena looks fantastic in the trailer. I mean, somehow John Cena, who was this, I mean, one of the all-times wrestlers. I mean, you know, whether you like him or not, he's one of the greatest that's ever wrestled. He's found this niche now where The Rock went to more like, I'm the action, I'm Arnold, I'm you know, Sylvester Stallone. John Cena has found this kind of comedy career that I don't know a lot of people knew. I mean, he was in Trainwreck with Amy Schumer. He was absolutely hilarious. He was in some kid comedies, which, I mean, as far as kid comedies go, not bad. You know, I mean, you know, whether you like that kind of thing.
I think Daddy's Home 3 or...
Yeah. And I've watched a lot of those because I have kids and they love John Cena. You know, all kids love John Cena. They can definitely not watch Trainwreck, and they're not going to be able to watch Suicide Squad 2, but I'm looking forward to it. All right, last little bit of news here. You don't know anything about The Bachelor, right? I mean, you don't ever watch this show. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you do.
I watched one season just because there's a DJ here in town that was on it.
What?
And I liked the guy.
Who was this?
Wells Adams off of
Are you
100.
serious?
Yeah.
He was on The Bachelor?
He was on The Bachelor.
Dude, I met Wells Adams.
Yeah.
What? Oh, I didn't know that. So he didn't obviously win.
No, he did.
How did he do? Did he get voted out pretty early?
He was the only guy that didn't like try to kiss her.
Oh, okay.
Until like they had their like one-on-one date.
Oh, I would love to.
Like all these other guys were like trying to like mac on her and everything.
That's hilarious.
And she basically like when she chose him to go on the date, which was, I mean, there were only like 11 guys left. I mean,
really? He made it that
whittled
far?
down, yeah.
Nice, okay.
And when she asked him, she basically was like saying, all right, we're going on this date and you have to kiss me.
What did he say? He's like...
he got a note. When they ask them on dates like that, they get like a note.
Yeah. So I would love to talk to him to know what the reality of that show is. I mean, I believe it's 97% fake. That's what I believe. I don't know that, and maybe if we ever get a chance to talk to him, I would love to ask him how.
I think there's a lot of production.
Yes. Okay.
That goes into it.
Do you think they're telling them though, like you need to kiss her? Like, do you think a producer went up and said, "Dude, I mean, you need to make this happen"?
I don't know. I think majority of the people on there are meatheads.
Okay, that's true.
Oddly enough, there were 2 guys from Nashville.
Really?
Wells was one of them, and another guy from Nashville, and they were like the only 2 non-meatheads on the show.
Well, I learned something today. Well, I say this because that
was the same season that Aaron Rodgers' brother was the one that won.
Oh, yeah, that's a
Vandy
kid.
There you go.
Well, it came out that one of the contestants, one of the bachelors came out as gay, Colton Underwood.
That name sounds familiar, but...
I'm like, dude, how dumb is this show? Where the main dude was a gay man. I mean, come on, kill this series, man. Like, how stupid... The main dude is gay. And hey, if you're gay, brother, more power to you. But What are you doing on this show with all these ladies?
Your name's Colton, so I mean.
Well, Billy on the street, I forget his last name, Billy Eckner, a long time ago was like, that dude's gay. And people are like, oh, no, he's not gay, dude. He's just, he's just a metrosexual man, you know, blah, blah, blah. No, the dude was gay. And man, these shows, I don't understand the appeal of The Bachelor. I've never watched it. I see people going crazy about it. It's covered on sport podcasts now. It's covered on Barstool. It's covered on all these things. I'm like, why are people watching this?
I do not know.
It is just terrible. It's not even good. I mean, like, at least with Survivor, everyone could kind of get on that because it was man versus the elements. You know, it was man versus other man, just strategy-wise. Yeah. What is the strategy of this show? Just to lie to people? And the premise is what kills me. The premise, if you're living on a rock, if you never watched The Bachelor, but just to reiterate what the point of this show is to get engaged at the end of the show. That's literally the point of the show. You're picking, I know it's fake and they never get married, but if we're treating it like we're going to treat wrestling in a minute as a real thing, you're literally picking the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with in a game show contest where there's 30 other guys competing for. It's just ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, I think it's trash. People want to attack. If Lee was here, our former co-host, he wanted to attack the Kardashians. I think The Bachelor is worse than the Kardashians.
I would agree.
Society. I mean, I think it's really bad. I think it sends a bad message to kids that this is the way it's supposed to be. And it's just, I don't know. And they keep getting spinoffs. And I just want to know. I want someone to tell me, why do you watch this show? And don't say it's like wrestling, because no, dude, Survivor's closer to wrestling than that. Or if you watch a soap opera, that's fine because we know that's fake. This is presented as a real product to people. I mean, that's the concept. So anyway, I just thought that was an interesting little tidbit there, and we learned something about Wells Adams. So I don't know, maybe I think we'll follow him on Twitter or something, but he seems like a pretty cool dude. So reach out. Maybe he'll come on and talk to us about The Bachelor for a little bit. That might be fun. All right, well, let's stop dragging our feet and let's just get to the subject matter at hand. Today, we're doing most hated wrestlers, the Mount Rushmore of most hated wrestlers. We're doing this because WrestleMania 37 was this past weekend. 2 nights. I watched every bit of it. Absolutely loved it. I thought it was stellar. It was fantastic. Were there some weird miscues? Sure, but it's 8 hours of content. I mean, come on. If it was an 8-hour movie, you'd be like, okay, whatever. But for the most part, night 1, A++. Night 2, probably like a B-. You know,
I'd agree with that. The triple threat was amazing.
Yeah. Oh, it was fantastic. It was Edge. If you don't know wrestling, Edge, Daniel Bryan, and Roman Reigns. It was fantastic, stellar. What great storytelling. I mean,
whenever I've ever seen a match with 3 people, no less, and I was like, okay, with no matter who would win.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of those cases.
I think with that one, I didn't even know who was going to win. I was like, I think Roman Reigns, but I mean, the other two.
If I was forced to put money on it, I would have said Roman Reigns. But still, I mean, I wouldn't put a large sum on it.
I mean, it could have been a pin steal. It could have been anything. So, anyways, this is honor of that. If you watch WrestleMania, hallelujah, good for you. But we're going to pick our most hated wrestlers. And I've been a wrestling fan since I was a young, as I say to my kids, a young tater tot. I loved wrestling since I was a child. I mean, I watched all the events. How long have you been watching? I mean, were you a child?
My first wrestling memory, and I know I watched it before this, but was the Brother Love segment where Andre tore Hulk Hogan's shirt off.
So I would say most people our age, definitely Hogan Andre was like one of their first like memories of it. And I just fell in love with it. I love the spectacle. I love the matches. I just love it. I absolutely love it. I'm loving it more and more now that there's more of it. It's on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. It's on like all the time now. Yeah. So we're going to go with wrestlers we hated. Now, we could do an easy list of wrestlers we love. That's no fun. We're going with wrestlers we hated. Now, what was your stipulation for this, John? What did you hate about these people? The list?
I mean, I'd have to kind of go one by one. A lot of it had to do with their conduct and safety in the ring.
Okay, me too.
Some of them revolved around their personal lives.
Okay, me too.
And there's one in particular that, as a child, I saw something that he did in the ring, and it scarred me, and so I just hated the guy.
I can't wait. This is gonna be so good. Okay, so I go first, and I'm gonna expand on my most hated wrestler of the Mount Rushmore. Is the man on the screen right now, if you're watching, Mr. Bill Goldberg. I hate Goldberg. Why do I hate Goldberg? I
think we could both talk about Goldberg for a while.
I can write a book on why I hate Goldberg. Now, number one, I hate his personality. I think he's a meathead moron. I think he's just bad for the business. I think he's a guy who thinks he's better than he was. And that's a problem. If you're great, if you're Undertaker and you know you're good, you can walk around. Like Michael Jordan can walk around knowing he's Michael Jordan. If B.J. Armstrong from the Bulls is walking around like he's freaking Michael Jordan, we have a problem, dude. Yeah, you won a championship, but come on, know your role.
You didn't win the championship.
So he thinks he was this. In my mind, Goldberg at some point started to think this was real. He started to think he really could beat all these people. Brother, half those people would have stretched him out in a minute.
One of my favorite moments, and it wasn't at the time I didn't know what was going on. I just was thinking, wow, this is a really long Goldberg match.
Go ahead.
But it was between him and at the time he was going by Steven Regal. Mm-hmm. Most people know him by William Regal.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And William Regal he'll put on a clinic with anybody. As far as knowing how to wrestle,
yes,
he is up there. But he's not a spring chicken. And before this specific match, Goldberg had run rickshaw on people way bigger.
Yes.
Than Regal at this time.
Oh yeah.
And apparently Regal was just like, look, you're green, you're a newbie, and you're walking around here like you own the place.
Yeah.
And that's not how it is.
Right.
And I'm gonna show you why.
And he did.
And he did.
He stretched him out. I mean, he put him in some moves, put some pain on him. That's a good match to go back and watch and just watch it. I think he was bad for the business. He never lost. He just destroyed everybody. I mean, he just, WCW at the time of the Monday Night Wars, there was WCW versus WWE. They were on at the same night, and they were both competing for the same people. Me and John were WCW diehards. And it was the time Goldberg came around and started this streak where he never lost that I started to, this is boring to me. This is lame. I don't want to watch this anymore. And I felt like he's not the reason the company went down, but he is one of the reasons he went down. I mean, I just think he has no charisma. I think his moveset, he has 3 moves. He's lame. And when he's on, I don't want to watch it. I don't want him to win. I want him to lose. I want him to lose every match he's ever in. I want him out of the business. That's how much I hate him. So that is my number one, Mr. Goldberg.
One more thing I want to say about Bill Goldberg.
Go for it.
Probably my favorite moment is with Bret Hart. We've talked about this before. Yes. Bret Hart comes out wearing a jersey. He's Canadian, and he was wearing a hockey jersey. And he calls out Bill Goldberg. Bill Goldberg spears him like he normally does. So they're both laying on the mat, but neither of them's getting up. And Bret Hart gets up first. He pulls his jersey off, and he's wearing like a steel plate on his chest.
Chest plate. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. The greatest Bill Goldberg moment.
I mean, that's the thing.
Ever.
The guy was so dominant. You were happy when he got beat up. Yeah, I just hate the guy. He's terrible. Beat the Undertaker. Anyway, go ahead. Continue. Okay. All right, who's your number one?
My number one is probably, he's not the biggest guy to ever wrestle, but in my mind, the scariest individual that, if someone said, hey, you're going to be in a match with this guy.
Okay.
Or even in a room with this guy.
Oh, this guy. It's going to be good.
New Jack.
Oh, man, that's a good one, bro.
New Jack is a scary individual. And, I mean, talk about unsafe.
Okay, so New Jack was most famous ECW. And he would compete in mostly hardcore matches. And if you're not watching, what's it called? Vice, The Dark Side of Wrestling.
They had a whole episode dedicated to this guy.
Oh, it's insane what he was doing. I mean, he almost killed a man.
He almost killed a kid.
Yes, a kid, yes.
A kid. And in fact, I mean, if you were to Google New Jack, one of the first 3 or 4 entries is going to say New Jack versus Mass Transit.
Yeah.
Mass Transit was a heavy-set guy.
Yeah.
Who lied about his age so he could wrestle.
Yeah.
He was only 17. And New Jack just cut him. The kid was bleeding, where his dad had to like run into the ring and stop the match.
He could have died. I mean, legitimately.
Yeah.
Like he had to have surgery and everything.
Yes, and I mean, and I don't know how many times he's tossed people with and without himself off scaffolding, off just crazy bumps.
He's reckless. I mean, he's reckless, and he tells you he's going to hurt. I mean, that's the point, man. To me, it's like football. You don't go out there to hurt each other as wrestlers. That's stupid. This guy is going out there to. That's a good one. I didn't even have him on the list, but yeah, he is just a terrible individual.
I mean, and there's a list of people that, specifically ECW, that I would not want to be anywhere near a ring with. I mean, but at least the other ones, that there seems to be an art behind it.
Yes. Even Sandman, who was kind of just a joke of a character, come out drinking a beer, smoke a cigarette, had a cane. He still seemed to respect the business. New Jack seemed to have no respect for it at all.
I mean, the next most dangerous person I would probably put as Sabu.
Yeah, he's pretty dangerous.
But I mean, when you looked at the guy, he looked like he was playing a part. New Jack was like, where does the wrestler end and the individual begin? And the thing is I don't even know if there was an individual. The guy is just about mayhem.
See, I think it,
and I think I honestly think that the reason why he got into that business was he could hurt people and it not get in trouble for it.
Well, he talked about in Dark Side of Wrestling that he came from an abusive household. So you can see, that you would gravitate. And I've been around wrestlers. Like, if people don't know, for a while, me and my brother-in-law did a slightly wrestling-centric podcast. Centric, not eccentric as well, but centric. Yeah. And I was backstage with these guys, and a lot of them they're nuts. I mean, they're like, you got to think about this. The indie wrestlers are going out there crushing their bodies every night for nothing. I mean, like $5, $20, maybe $100, maybe, nothing.
People, they knock wrestling and they, it's fake, it's fake, it's fake. Yes, the end of the game, it's part of it is scripted, but the bumps are real.
Yeah, I say it's not fake, it's staged. It's scripted, it's best to say. And even with scripting, if a guy gets hurt really bad, they have to change the outcome of the ending. So it's not even, it's really just, it's like it's an improvised play. Yeah. I mean, like, so is it fake?
And there's some wrestlers, we talk about Chris Jericho being one of our favorites.
Yeah.
There's times where he's switched the ending of a match because it was just better.
Yeah.
And so I mean,
it's truly, people don't respect, I mean, A, you got to be physically fit. B, you got to be good on the microphone, which a lot of people aren't. You got to be able to go on the fly, and you got to react. I mean, these guys are really phenomenal. They are like the modern day gladiators to me.
Yeah.
I mean, so... Well, that's a good one. New Jack he's a good one. All right, I'm going to go with my number 2, who kind of almost inspired this list last week, but a man John had met at his hotel. He meets many wrestlers. He always texts me, but I hate Bubba Ray Dudley so much. I cannot stand Bubba Ray Dudley. I mean, I don't know what it's about him. It's his personality. It's his persona. It's not even the character. It's the man who is the character. He is part of the Dudleys, which was a very famous tag team. They got their start in ECW, then they went to WWE, and then they kind of, went to some other places. But his persona online, and I think he has a podcast or he does something where he gives interviews. He's just one of those. A lot of these dudes I don't like came from this era where they had to beat the living hell out of each other to gain respect. I'm like, that's stupid. I mean, it's just like hazing for no reason. Like I hate any wrestler. I hear like they haze people. They were mean. Being mean is one thing. New Jack trying to kill someone, or like this dude here really being stiff in matches and trying to hurt people. I just hate it. I would hate that guy. Never wanted to watch them. Never even really understood the appeal of the Dudleys, if you want the truth. I never even cared for them as a tag team.
And the whole tables thing, that was it.
That was it. Didn't have much skills to speak of as a wrestler. And I think once they split up, you kind of saw that. They were like, oh, these dudes they're kind of lame. And even when he was in Impact Wrestling, he was just like, my name's Bully Ray. And I'm like, well, yeah, because you're a bully. And I hate bullies. Like, if you want to do, like, most hated people in the world, I hate bullies more than almost anything. I think people that walk around and just because they're bigger than people, they think they can enforce their will upon them. I hate that so much, man. I can't stand it. I got no room for it. And he is a bully. To me, he's just a personification of one, obviously by his name and everything. So Bubba Ray's my number 2.
It's funny, your description of Bubba Ray Dudley.
Yes.
I could probably take word for word
Uh-oh.
for my next one.
Yeah.
JBL.
He was my number 3 if you didn't grab him. 100%.
Same reasons.
Yeah.
Same reason. Now, the sad thing is when he was just, Bradshaw,
Yes.
and he was in the APA, probably flip the script.
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious. But then now I learn more and more about wrestling and wrestling history. Even before the APA, there was a little tournament that was created by Vince Russo called Brawl for All. And, Vince Russo said...
Now, Vince Russo is the booker. He's the one that's
yeah.
writing the stories and booking everything.
He said the only reason he created Brawl for All was because Bradshaw was talking about if it was a real fight, he could beat anyone in the locker room.
Yes.
And he wanted to test that theory.
These dudes were legitimately boxing each other. Legit.
But without any sort of training whatsoever.
So this wasn't staged or scripted. This was literally go out there and box each other.
Yeah.
And it's insane that they allowed this to happen. I mean, it's really crazy that most of those dudes got hurt.
Yeah.
Also, once again, great piece on Vice, Dark Side of the Ring about Brawl for All. It is a fantastic watch. It's so good.
That's a good series if you're a fan of wrestling. Then.
Even if you're not, I think people could still watch Dark Side of the Ring and really take a lot away from it. I think it's really well done. It's easy to follow. And even if you don't know the background, like if you just watch the New Jack episode, you come around going, oh, okay, I get it. I kind of get it. So it's a really great series if you haven't watched it.
JBL is just notorious for hazing. Also, you pull his name up and go down a few bars, and eventually you'll see Blue Meanie mentioned.
What did he do to him?
There was a big crossover between ECW and WWE.
Yeah, oh no.
And there was just a big fight, and JBL just zeroed in on Blue Meanie and beat the living crud out of him.
Really?
And it was not like Blue Meanie was down, and he could have just moved on. When you're in a group like that,
yeah,
you hit a few people and you move on to somebody else.
Right.
He was just laying into him. When you see Blue Meanie stand up again, he's covered in blood. No one else is.
Oh, man. He's an asshole. JBL, plus his personality and his politics, he leans to the right, majorly. He definitely voted for Trump. So that doesn't help either. I hate JBL. Now, as he's become an announcer, I don't hate him as much as I used to. And maybe that's, time being kind with people. But, I still hate the guy. He's lame. So, that's a good one. All right, because it was online. I'm going to hit you with one, maybe, I don't know. I don't know if you know this guy's on my list or not, but this is a WCW guy. Well, he was a WWE guy. Then he went to WCW. Then he came back. Kevin Nash. I've never liked Kevin Nash. There's something about him that so Kevin Nash is a 7'2"
He's
guy.
one of those guys that if we had a top 10 list, he definitely make my top 10 list.
Number one, I don't know that he was careless in the ring, but his moveset was very limited, and he just did not seem to have any respect for the business at all. He was one of those guys that basically went to the back, kissed ass, became a top dude, and then booked himself over constantly. And I hate that so much. I
agree.
If you're going to get to the top, you earn that on your own accord, okay? There's certain people. You can pick even a Daniel Bryan. Is a guy that the fans got behind, and he rose to the top. A lot of guys, John Cena, CM Punk, all these guys,
despite
at least
what everyone else was doing business-wise.
Right. Even Stone Cold. These are The Rock. You can pick dudes that are universally loved, had to work their way up. Kevin Nash just weaseled his way to the back, kissed up to the writers and the bookers, basically became a booker in WCW at one point, and never lost. Who did Goldberg lose to? Kevin Nash, because he wrote it up that way, and it was a terrible match. It was lame to him. That match, when you want to know when I stopped liking WCW for wrestling fan, that was the match where I was like, I think I'm out.
It's so crazy because back in the day, I dare say I loved Scott Hall.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And they were, thick as thieves.
Yeah.
And so, it's so, and that's the thing is, maybe that's probably why he's not on my list.
Yeah.
Is because I remember the times when he was with Scott, and I mean the whole thing where Scott Hall would be like, survey says, and it doesn't matter they're cheering for him or not. He's like, another one for the good guys. It's just,
I mean,
great.
I don't know who's on the rest of your list, but dude, if you take Scott Hall out of the NWO, you could argue they might be like 3 of my 4. Truth, I mean, they're not going to be, but like in an alternate universe, those guys were terrible. I don't really understand looking back how they got over. So I mean, Hogan was probably the reason they got over so well, but I don't know, dude. X-Pac.
They came in Ruckshaw, especially Scott Hall, because he was the very first one to pop up.
I know.
And then he's like, all right, I got something special for you guys. And then Kevin Nash came in.
Okay, fair enough.
But
I cannot stand the guy. Interviews with him, he's once again, you can start to get. I don't like people that think they're God's gift to the earth, and he definitely is one of those people.
Okay.
So. All right, Kevin Nash. Who's your number 3?
I've got one. This is probably my only active roster member. This might catch some heat from some people because this is a woman.
It was going to be my number 4.
Nia Jax.
Yep, Nia Jax for sure.
She is so dry. I mean, she's just, when she talks, she just sounds whiny, and it's just like, I mean, to be a good person on the mic, there's a level of entertainment and a level of acting.
Yes.
That has to go into it, and she wouldn't be a good actor in a porn. She's just horrible.
What a lie.
She's just not good at all. And she's put a lot of people, whether it be short term or long term.
Oh, a lot, yes.
On the shelf.
Oh, yes.
And I mean,
and she was bragging about it on social media that was her thing. She would hurt you in matches. Like, come on, man. That's
so yeah. She's put Sasha Banks on. She almost made Becky Lynch into a golden child.
But it could have.
It could have done something.
Well,
way
sidelined
worse.
her for the next pay-per-view because she broke her nose.
Yeah.
Kairi Sane.
That's just the tip.
The list goes. There's quite a few. I mean,
horrible. She's just not safe. She's not a good wrestler. She's not good on the mic. I think that her main draw is her size, and that she's Ken to the Rock.
That's pretty much it.
That's the only 2 things that she's got in her favor.
I think you summed up everything I was going to say. I was going to definitely have her at number 4, so I'm glad you got her. Yeah, it's just trash, man, just trash. All right. Well, my last one. This may surprise you. I don't know, man. I've never liked this guy. I mean, I actually dislike him for some of the same reasons I don't like Nash. I feel like when you put yourself in a position to get over just because of where you're at, it's going to be a shock.
Ooh, I think I know who you're going to say.
Never liked Triple H. It's so much. I hate Triple H. I know people.
I thought you were going to say somebody else, but it's someone akin to him.
Okay. They're like, he's one of the greatest. I'm like, is he? I don't think he's really that great of a wrestler. I don't think he's really that great on the mic. I've never liked any of his matches. I've never watched a Triple H match going, well, that's a 5-star classic. I mean, he started off as this blue blood aristocrat. Then he became part of DX. That saved his career. Let's just be honest there. Once again, I look back at NWO and DX. I never really liked. I liked, obviously, NWO. Who didn't like NWO? I mean, come on, be realistic here. But I never liked DX. I never did. I never got the appeal of it.
They were just sophomoric, and it seemed like they were just trying to copy him.
Yeah, I mean, they literally were copying NWO. Suck it. Come on, dude. I mean, I know everyone was doing that at the time just because it was a catchphrase, but even back then I was like, that's kind of lame, dude. So now we'll say this. I'm talking the wrestler. The guy now that's running it seems to really respect the business, and I will give him.
He does seem like he knows what he's doing when it comes to NXT.
But the wrestler, Triple H, never cared for any of his matches, never wanted to watch them, and it always bugged me that he married the boss's daughter. I mean, you can't deny it's a fact. I mean, he was with China, dumped her, and married the boss's daughter.
Cheated on her.
Cheated, and then went to the top of the pops. And I don't think he's as great as him. I think he's
also in tight with your boy Kevin Nash.
Well, there we
They
go.
cut from the same cloth, birds of a feather.
Hope we never run these dudes and they listen. Somebody tells them we say we're in trouble. So that rounds mine out. Who's your last one on your list?
Let me consult my list because there's
no.
there's two I really want to do.
Well, you only get one, so unless they're the same person.
I think it'd be funnier to talk about this one, so I'll put him on my list.
All right.
A lot of people are going to say, who? Because this is the one that scarred me when I was a kid.
Oh, I want to hear this story, John.
Skinner. Do you remember Skinner?
I do. Of course I remember Skinner, John.
Skinner.
Oh, my God. What a pick. You may win this week just for Skinner, dude.
Skinner.
That guy's been talked about in 20 years, John.
Skinner is like a smaller version and like more inbred version of Hillbilly Jim. Where he'd come down and he had like stained and mucked tobacco stains in his beard.
Yes, I know. What did he do
I
in
mean,
the ring that scarred you?
A nightmare. But anyway,
What did he do?
there was a Brutus the Barber Beefcake match.
One of my favorites.
Yes, I mine too.
Yes.
And Brutus won his match, but for some reason Skinner came down and attacked him behind when he was celebrating his match. And put the strap thing that he carried with him, put it around his neck. And he was dragging him around the ring. And it was the very first time on wrestling television that I saw them put the big censor X on the whole screen.
Oh, wow. Okay, wow.
And I mean, Brutus Barber Geek, man, that was my guy.
That was our guy, man, yeah.
And I was just like, no, this ain't right.
Wow.
And it was before, I was probably 7, 8 years old when this happened.
For sure, yeah.
And I'm like, I still didn't know that, how real is this and even if it is fake, that would hurt.
Oh, yeah, you can't fake being choked out by a belt.
Yeah. And so, that was, I just never got over that.
That is, John, that's fantastic. Skinner, I never would, if you gave me 100 wrestlers, he's such a bad wrestler.
He was never good in the ring either. His gimmick was
it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Skinner. Wow, wrestling fans are going to love that pick. All right, well, that's our four.
That was definitely a deep dive.
Let me go over our list. I had Goldberg, Bubba Ray, Kevin Nash, and Triple H. John had New Jack, JBL, Nia Jax, and Skinner. Also, some other wrestlers I hate. I had JBL. Also, Buddy Holly, another bully. I've never liked Bret Hart, dude. There's something about Bret Hart I never liked. I like some of his matches, but the person, I don't know. Lesnar, not a big fan of Brock Lesnar myself. You mentioned Corbin before we started, definitely, and X-Pac, obviously. Not a big fan of
X-Pac almost made my list.
Who else you got on yours?
The one that I was struggling with for the choice was Gene Snitsky.
Oh, God, John.
Just never.
Yeah, he's terrible.
Yeah, terrible. Lex Luger. Never liked Lex Luger.
He popped in my head many times.
And my last one, another female, the Fabulous Moolah.
Yeah, she's a pretty terrible person.
And if you know anything about her backstory and what she did behind the scenes,
watch Dark Side of the Ring, baby.
She is very, very just a despicable person.
Oh, yeah, bad stuff. Now,
I'd probably akin her to the African that was selling his own people into slavery.
Yeah,
that's what I would rank her.
Just go watch Dark Side of the Ring. A lot of these people are listed on there, and it's fascinating to watch. Of course, we're not going to list Chris Benoit because I've separated in my mind Chris Benoit, the wrestler, from Chris Benoit, the maniac that killed his family.
They were two different people.
Right. So
there was something that snapped in his brain that he was no longer that person.
It's unfortunate.
I would agree with you on that.
But Chris Benoit was an amazing wrestler, but a terrible human being. So there we go. That was our Mount Rushmore Most Hated Wrestlers. If you are a wrestling fan, please let us know who made your list. I would love to see who and why, and let us know. But we've come up to the end of the show, so there will be no more discussion about that. And we appreciate everyone hanging out with us on this episode where, we jumped down memory lane and got to all kinds of good Skinner stories, which is fantastic. But we'd love to hear your opinions on it. And you can do that by going to our website, bybpod.com. That is bybpod.com. That's our website where you can go, and I don't know why it's not loading right now, but if you go there, you can check out all of our past episodes. You can check out all of our past articles as well. If it will load up, I don't know why it's not doing that, but you can go there, get all of our content, our social medias, ways to find us on there. I don't know, it's not working. But, there it is. So there's the website. You can go on there. Like I said, it's got everything you need on there. Ways to support us on the Amazon affiliate link. Our merchandise is on there. You can find the links to live show and everything. It's all on there. Go check it out. Bookmark it. Visit it. You can email us if you got any questions or if you want advice from John for a Dear John segment. There's many ways to do that. bybpod.com is the website. Make sure to follow us on any way you're doing podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, all those. Give us a review. We got a new review this week, which is fantastic. We love to see those come in. So please rate, review, like us, subscribe to us on YouTube and all that fun stuff. Have a great week. Go get vaccinated. With all that being said, John, is there anything else?
Don't blame yourself when you can blame your brother.